Yeah, so, there were actually two lists. So there was a list from 1854, and then at the end of the Civil War, Andrew Pickens Calhoun, who owned the plantation, died right before the Civil War ended. And so an inventory was done of the estate, and there were 139 enslaved people listed. And so we did a comparative analysis first to see how many of those 50 were still at the plantation. There were quite a few of them that were still there. And then I thought, well, did the Calhouns and Clemsons, Thomas Green Clemson, our founder, was the son-in-law of John C. Calhoun. I wondered, are there any mentions of them in letters? So I had my first postdoc come actually during COVID, Dr. Lanice Littleton. And so she started going through the letters, and she found numerous references to enslaved people that were mentioned if a baby was born, or if someone was being punished, or if someone was sent on an errand. And I thought, all right, so they're talking about them, and that gives us more clues. So, we're amassing all of that information. And then as I'm looking to find more information about enslaved people, someone says to me, oh, did you know there were sharecroppers? And I thought, well, no, I didn't know that. And we have contracts. So there are 4 contracts that have survived and it says freedmen and women who were working there at Fort Hill. Some of them we have learned were actually enslaved first and stayed on to work at the plantation. And then I think it was our university historian said to me, oh, did you know that Black convicts built Clemson? And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, it was about 50 convicts who built Clemson. And so I'm like looking all over the state trying to find these documents. Finally, one of our archivists suggested that I look in the state archive. I write them an email. They're like, yes, we have records, pages and pages of records. So soon I was holding in my hand the registers that had all the names of the convicted laborers who helped to build Clemson. And then as I kept going back, they kept showing me records. They had court records, they had pardon records and parole records, all kinds of records where we were able to start piecing together those stories. We know where those men and boys were from as young as 14 years old, who helped to build the college. And then there was more. They were like, well, when the college opened, guess who was cleaning and cooking and working on the farm? It was mostly Black wage workers. So there was another, and it just kept growing. And then I found that I was looking through a book called There's Something in Those Hills, and I'm turning the pages, and there's a picture of Duke Ellington in that book. And I'm thinking, what was Duke Ellington doing at Clemson? Well, it turns out as early as 1920, Black musicians are being hired to perform at social events for our cadets, right? And it just kept going. I knew about Harvey Gantt, who desegregates Clemson after winning his lawsuit in 1963, but I thought, well, what about the students who came after him? So we started documenting the stories of students who came post-integration. And then as I started doing this work, my current students are saying, well, we want to be part of the project too. So we tell the stories of current students who are often involved in activism or artistic work on campus. And so now there's this history that stretches basically we call it from Africa to America.